What is going on, everybody? This is Andrew from DeFiancy. All right, guys, we're just going to jump straight into this. This is your daily update. We're currently looking at Bitcoin here. We've had a pretty large breakout overnight. We've had this walk up, slow consolidation, and then a massive rip here. And, we're seeing a lot of emotional reactions to this. A lot of people feel like they've missed it. Um, Everything's going to the moon. It's never going to pull back, which tells me that we're probably getting close to a local top. Now, obviously, we're not really shorting this, and we are a little bit hedged here because I think that we are approaching unsustainable levels. I think you could get this ETF approved today or tomorrow, possibly, or later next week. And that's really why this is happening. Is there's additional rumors that there's a good chance this could be approved over the next few days, and obviously by the latest, you've been keeping up with this in January. So again, I think, look, we're traders here, right? So we're looking at this a little bit more practical. Um, it's just getting ahead of itself here, I think. And don't get me wrong, I think that we love it. I love Bitcoin. I think it's going to $1 million a coin, probably in a decade or less. I think it's going to be up closer to 300K probably by 2026. Um, yeah, I'm super bullish on it, but I also realize that this is just a little bit ahead of itself, and there's gonna, there's things that are going to need to happen to really sustain a move, and namely, we need to see if the institutions will actually buy Bitcoin. So this is something that we have made an assumption of, that people want to buy Bitcoin right now, and I actually believe that people in crypto we're in a bubble, and we don't actually really understand what institutions want and what they don't want. And I'm here to tell you that I think we're going to be surprised on how little of an interest there will be initially. I think Bitcoin it's going to have to grow on them, and I think they will dabble, and that's going to benefit Bitcoin tremendously. But what I'm getting at here is this market is pricing in this, trying to price in this ETF, and you're likely getting most of your gains really before the ETF. I mean, this is usually the case with things like this, is you get the event and it's sell the news. So really what I'm getting at here is this feels a lot like when we broke above 25K. People waited for a pullback here. As you can see, it just chopped around. Excuse me. And then you had an expansion, and people thought it was, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to get a pullback. And then it was pretty much chopped from there. I think we're getting here. I'm not saying that this can't go higher. I mean, technically this could go up to 42 or higher. I personally just don't think that's going to happen. Again, we're not short here, but I do think that I want to be, I just want to be rational, and I feel like you're not going to see a lot of this on Twitter, or sorry, on X. So we're just trying to be a little different here and look at this a little bit more, again, practical. Put the emotion aside. Just look at this from the chart perspective. Realize that things don't just go up only. I mean, you're at extremely high levels of overbought here. I mean, you're at the greedy, frothy stage on Bitcoin right now. Now, doesn't mean that it can't keep going, right? Because if you look at the weekly here, it has been a lot more frothy in the past. But you got to realize this was the heat of a bull. I mean, this was like the peak of a bull market here when we got this overbought on the RSI. This is kind of where we're at right here. If you really want my opinion on this, 2019, this is where I think we are, basically somewhere in here. And I believe you will have a pretty long consolidation to the downside following the ETF approval or disapproval. I think it gets approved, but maybe it doesn't, right? I don't, we're not betting, betting on that happening. We're just here to react to what happens. Anyway, so look, Bitcoin looks good. Look, we're not bearish, but we're also trying to be rational here and look at this practical and say, look, this is when you really want to start to be a little careful with it, because this is when people are getting very emotional. This is when you get what's called your top buyers, people that are very impatient. They can't take it anymore. It's just going up. It's not coming down. And they start to really make poor decisions based off their emotion. We're getting close to that at this point. Doesn't mean it can't go higher. These things can also always, Bitcoin can always go way higher than you think. Okay, I've been trading it for a while, technically since 2015, and I've seen it do some things that really will blow your mind. So we're not going to be surprised if it goes higher, but my base case is that you're getting close to a local top here. We'll see. And ETH is really, I'm not going to spend too much time. ETH is pretty much just kind of following Bitcoin. To me, it looks pretty good. But it's in the same kind of situation where you do want to kind of be careful. I actually think this is a better chart, to be honest. I feel like you have way more upside on this. than Bitcoin, to be honest. I think you're going to start to see miners selling pretty aggressively, and then ETH just has a lot of catch up. I think this will go to 2,500 at some point here, probably relatively soon. Maybe it's next year, but it just has more upside in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. Um, what else we got here? So Sol, man, this thing is just a rocket ship. It's hard to even really fathom this thing right now. I mean, in terms of just how aggressive it is to the upside. I personally think that, you see, you're probably thinking I'm bearish here, but I think this is probably getting topped out too. I've just watched, I've seen this kind of story play out where things just get way aggressive in the short term with no real pullback. The longer it does this, the more likely that you're getting close to a local top. So my base case is that Sol's coming back down to 32. I'm not really interested in it at this point in terms of adding additional capital to it until it does some kind of, even if it's just a 38, some kind of pullback here. But I'm thinking more like 32 or lower, maybe even like 28. But again, not bearish, not shorting it, just saying things are getting very overextended here. I mean, if you look at Sol, it's even more overbought than Bitcoin on every time frame. So you're getting really frothy here, way ahead of itself. But look, still bullish on Sol. So maybe it is able to continue. Again, not being bearish, we're just trying to be rational, practical, look at things. Really zoomed out of the crypto bubble, right? Because if you go into the crypto bubble, everything's up only, new paradigm, we're going to all-time highs, sell everything about crypto. That's where crypto is about to be at as we go higher. And that's exactly when you want to not listen to crypto people. Anyway, so let's move to the indexes here. We're going to cut this video off after the indexes. So right now, we're at a what's called a call resistance level, meaning market makers are incentivized to sell the underlying asset as we go higher to stay delta neutral around this 4,400 level. So it's actually over this 4,400 level, but you can kind of, treat this as like the same level. You're at that resistance level here. I don't think you're going higher here either. I guess today I'm just super bearish, but everything is getting ahead of itself. So until equities has some kind of decent pullback, I would say caution. Same thing with crypto. Things are just getting overextended. It doesn't mean that you have to be bearish or things have to crash. That's not what we're talking about. What we're saying is, look, the market is really not much different than it was, a few weeks ago. It's just that the candles have convinced people that the market is different. So smarter, cooler heads are probably going to sell into these rallies, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about profit. And again, there is no substantial difference between now and a few weeks ago. It's really just, this is what's called a reflexive psychological rally, where people start making up things in their head for why prices are going up. But reality is nothing has really changed, which again, that doesn't mean you have to crash. It just means that prices are more likely to revert, meaning you're more likely to range and consolidate while we get additional information on what is coming later. So I'm really looking to fade this, honestly, until we get some kind of meaningful pullback. But again, it can't go higher, right? We're not here to say, oh, you short everything. That's not what we're saying. We're just saying prices or assets like to range most of the time, especially after they have a huge move like this. I mean, this is enormous, this move right here. So we think this is just going to kind of digest this move. We're going to get some choppy price action over the next few days and probably into the next couple weeks. And we'll be posting some stuff in the Discord in terms of some of our scalps on the ES. And so the market just opened, so we're gonna cut this off, and we're gonna come. If you want to see further analysis today, come to the Discord, and we'll be glad to have you there. Until next time, happy hunting, friends.